Dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Anisha Juneja, Assistant Professor of Psychology, Lady Shri Ram College, University of Delhi. Now the module we are going to talk about is age-related crime. Crimes are on a rise these days. You open the newspaper and majority of the news articles are about rapes, burglary, road rage and whatnot, with victims and perpetrators both from all possible age groups. January 2017 saw a 38 years old merchant navy officer murdering his own father with knives and choppers to take revenge. And what was the revenge for? The father had disowned him for his aggressive and antisocial behavior. He had been in the past charged with molestation and had also turned alcoholic. If that was not enough, to avoid getting arrested, he tried distracting the police by blowing up his neighbor's house after threatening them. And then we have children engaging in criminal acts like molesting, stealing, or engaging in hacking accounts. Thus, there is no set age of a criminal. To see crimes being committed at such young age brings forth the need to trace its roots so that it may be rectified early on. There comes the role of psychologists to bring a change in the social, psychological, and environmental factors in order to reduce the rates of the crimes. Thus, after reading this module, you will be able to 1. Understand the age-related trends of crime. 2. Know the classification of crime that varies across age groups. 3. Understand crimes that children are more vulnerable to. 4. Analyze the reasons behind such crimes. And lastly, be aware of the remedial and preventive measures to reduce the occurrence of such crimes. Now, let's look at the developmental perspective to crime, the trend across the lifespan. Researches done in the past suggest that crime rates rise in mid to late teens as well as early 20s. 15 to 24 years is the period of high crime rate. Then it starts to decline as individual grows older. The question now arises as to why crime rates reduce as age increases. 1. This may be caused by physical or neuropsychological changes that happen as we age. The strength, swiftness, stamina, and aggression that are important to carry out a crime successfully starts reducing. The decline is very slow till 50 years of age, after which the deterioration becomes more rapid and visible too. Second, the hormonal changes, testosterone, the hormone associated with increased competitiveness and aggression, rises in early adulthood till about mid-40s, and then the decline begins. Thus, the testosterone aggression violence linkage is established. This causes crime to be seen more in young people and men compared to elderly and women. Now, since there is no established age of crime, many crimes can be linked to certain specific age periods, bringing us to the topic of various age-related crimes. Let's begin with juvenile delinquency. The Indian Penal Code defines juvenile delinquency as illegal offences committed by a minor child falling within an age range of 7 to 18 years. It could also include persistent disobedient behavior, violation of rights of other humans and animals, damaging property and harming others. The offences include stealing, burglary, violence, sexual offences and betting. The Nirbhaya rape case is another example where a minor was found guilty. The seriousness of the crime as well as public outrage brought about a reform in the Juvenile Justice Bill. The Lok Sabha in the bill now allowed minors in the age range of 16 to 18 years to be tried as adults if the crimes committed by them were extremely heinous. Juvenile delinquents can be age-specific offenders who leave their delinquent behavior as they become adults, or they could be repeat offenders who tend to show conduct or antisocial behaviors during their growing up years. They continue to engage in criminal activities even after becoming adults. Now, what kind of crimes does juvenile delinquency include? It could be 1. Acquisitive tendencies including stealing, robbery or ordinary theft, forgery including cheating parents and authorities, aggressive tendencies against inanimate and animate objects by physical or mental methods like damaging school property, fighting, bullying, torturing or housebreaking. Another is sexual tendencies including eve-teasing, molestation, sodomy or rape. And the last is escape behavior including running away from school, home and disobedience to authority. There is no one certain cause of juvenile delinquency. While some say authoritarian, strict and punitive parenting could cause children to deviate, there are others who say too permissive a parenting with no supervision or control can also be a cause. Still, there are others who say the company of an aggressive peer group, low socioeconomic status, poor school performance, and peer group rejection that seem to be possible causes. If these causes can be understood and explored, psychotherapy can help in bringing about a change in their attitudes, values, and behaviors. And hence, the special homes lacking in adequate mental health services where they are sent can be avoided. Now, the second age-related crime that we shall talk about is vandalism. We all must have heard about India's first high-speed train, the Tejas Express, plying between Mumbai and Goa. It is one of its kind trains in India, installed with up-to-date technological services like Wi-Fi, USB charging ports, LED televisions at the back of the seats, coffee vending machines. It was launched in 2017. But to the surprise of the entire nation, even before the completion of its first trip, while the train was just arriving to Mumbai from Delhi, it became a victim to vandalism. Its glass windows were shattered by stone pelting, the high-quality headphones and infotainment screens had been stolen, and there was waste strewn all over the place. Now, this is the saddest but perfect case of vandalism. Defined as intentional and malicious destruction of someone's property, disfigurement of public or private property, it could include, apart from the above, slashing tires, painting a wall with graffiti, and even destroying the computer system by using a computer virus, with no visible external damage. With increasing problems of parking in the ever-growing population of Delhi, we are seeing how people, especially youngsters, are on a short fuse. A parking row can trigger an individual to verbal abuse, physical attack, or any other person or damage the possessions. Deflating tires, putting scratch marks all over the car, stealing the antennae or breaking the window panes are common incidences. The property destroyed is not only restricted to private property but to public spaces as well. A visit to our historical monuments and artifacts engraved with the expressions of love by local lovers or the public walls colored by people's palm spit is all proof that we want. A threat to the society and its precious structures, vandalism is a punishable offence which either results in the offender getting fined or serving a jail sentence. The peak age of committing vandalism is generally found to be 15 to 21 years, the cost of whose acts are to be borne by the common taxpayers of the country. Cohen, 1973, lists different types of vandalism under the following headings: acquisitive vandalism, that includes looting or petty thefts; tactical or ideological vandalism, that aims to draw attention to oneself or an issue; vindictive vandalism aims at revenge seeking; and play vandalism is done in order to combat boredom, while there is malicious vandalism caused by diffuse frustration and rage occurring in public settings such that the target is depersonalized. Now, some causes associated with vandalism include a desire to exert territorial control or need to re-establish control. Revengeful behavior caused due to perceiving oneself as unfit in a particular environment, relationships with antisocial peers, adult-child conflict, unmet emotional needs, perceived financial gain, and low levels of personal achievement could also be possible reasons. Now, we move on to the third age-related crime that shall be discussed now, which is alcohol and drug abuse. Although every shop and packet of cigarette or alcohol states that it is injurious to health, still, tobacco and alcohol are two drugs that are significantly abused in India, apart from the other drugs like cannabis, marijuana, cocaine, and inhalants. Nair and Prabhakaran in 2016 found a significant decline in the age of onset of alcohol use and alcohol-related disorders from 24 years to 17 years. It is not uncommon to find school-age children consuming alcohol at parties, despite the legal drinking age in India varying from 21 to 25 years across different states. Then there are chemicals whose vapors are intentionally inhaled to produce a psychoactive effect that are called inhalants. These inhalants are very commonly seen as drugs used and abused by children of all socioeconomic status, whether it is rag pickers or children from rich households. These could be volatile solvents like correction fluids, paint thinner, glue, aerosols like hairspray or spray paint, gases like nitrous oxide and nitrites that produce an instant euphoria and disinhibition. Easy accessibility of these inhalants makes individuals prone to greater dependence on such items. Whether it is stimulants, tranquilizers, psychedelics, hallucinogens, or recreational drugs, increased usage over a period of time can result in tolerance and dependence, and is then followed by withdrawal symptoms when the individual is not able to procure the drug. It is not only associated with damage to physical health, sexually transmitted diseases, HIV or AIDS, but also affects the psychological functioning of the individual, such as his thinking, decision-making, and concentrating. Drug use has been found to be linked to social disadvantage, age, family history of drug use, aggressive tendencies, temperament, and problems with the law. Especially with respect to alcohol, increased and early consumption can be attributed to changing social norms, growing acceptability of alcohol, increased accessibility and availability, and a continuous growth in disposable income. Another age-related crime is gambling. From being considered an activity of questionable morality and character, gambling is turning into a much celebrated pursuit, such as that seen in the casino culture of Las Vegas, or closer home, Goa. Globally, online gambling has become a trend, with 1 to 30% of adults using internet to gamble, according to Waddle, Moody, Griffiths, Offord, Wahlberg, 2011. Though it has been promoted by the leisure and entertainment industry, unlicensed illegal gambling sites are engaging in criminal activity like theft of payments, identity theft, and money laundering. At times, money from customers is taken, but winning amount is not paid. Gambling can be carried out in different forms, which include lotteries, scratch tickets, casinos, slot machines, electronic gambling machines, horse racing, sports games, betting, all of these. According to Trends in Gambling Behavior 2014, individuals within the age range of 18 to 34 years participate less in gambling than their older counterparts, with high rates in 35 to 54 years old range. When looking at the lottery as a specific subtype of gambling, age trends are changing and the younger lot is also dabbing with such activities. Gambling is not only associated with feelings of recreation and way of socialization, but also risk, fear, omnipotence, and excitement. The accessibility to media and internet further glamorizes these activities during the younger age group to fall into the trap. A relatively newer age-related crime that has started gaining roots across boundaries is the internet-related crime. With more than 40% of the population being online across the world, use of internet has grown 6 times. The quality of the internet has moved from 2G to 3G to 4G. Google, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, Snapchat have taken over the dictionary in our present times. The advent of the virtual world has also established a new social environment called the cyberspace, where unique forms of criminal behaviors are emerging. While it has its own advantages, illegal activities are not far. Illicit activities that are being carried out through global electronic networks are called cybercrime. India ranked third after US and China as source of malicious cyber activity in 2015, as per the software security firm Symantec Corp. Cybercrimes could include 1. Computer-assisted crimes like fraud, theft, money laundering, sexual harassment, hate speech, pornography, or computer-focused crimes like hacking, viral attacks, and website defacement. Now, from a legal point of view, WAL in 2001 classifies cybercrime into cyber trespassing, including hacking, defacement, and virus attack by crossing other person's boundaries and causing damage. Cyber deceptions and thefts, including stealing money, property, credit card frauds, intellectual property violations, or piracy. Cyber pornography with activities breaching laws on obscenity and decency. Then there is cyber violence involving hate speech and stalking to incite physical harm against someone or cause him or her any sort of psychological harm. Researchers like Hassan, Lass, and Macken 2012 add the following cybercrimes to the already existing list. One is cyber terrorism, a recent trend where the terrorist intimidates a government by attacking their storehouse of information on the computer and their networks. There is cyber extortion as well, wherein the individuals demand for ransom by putting a website, email server, or computer system under attack. Second is drug trafficking. A global trade has drug traffickers selling illegal substances through encrypted email or other technologies, arranging deals at internet cafes, using courier websites to track these illegal packages. Third is cyber stalking. Cyber stalking refers to harassing people through internet. Primarily sexual in nature, it could also be caused due to anger, obscenities, derogatory comments focusing on gender, religion, nationality, and sexual orientation are posted and hate emails sent to the target individual. Cyber crimes are committed primarily by males falling within the age range of 15 to 36 years. They are not so common in the 50-plus age group as per Scheel and Martin in 2004. The increase in cybercrime can be attributed to various social, economic, cultural, psychological, or biological reasons. Since it is difficult to trace an offender on the virtual world and it offers instant material gain without much physical labor, it becomes easier to commit such crimes and get away with them without much legal action. Urbanization, easy access to internet, unemployment, easy money, weak cybercrime laws, negative role models presented in the media, and easy defamation of someone's image makes it a low-cost but high-gain crime. Now, we come to another unique age-related crime called exhibitionism. Commonly referred to as flashing, exhibitionism refers to an excessive, uncontrollable need to expose one's genitals to other people, typically strangers caught off guard, so as to gain sexual satisfaction. there seems to be a difference of opinions with regards to an exhibitionist male and a female. Exhibitionism in females is an area demanding more clarity. The recent trends of sexting or sex chat on internet has started a new version of exhibitionism by individuals sending pictures of their intimate parts to others, resulting sometimes in pleasure but many a times in disgust, unpleasant consequences like panic and fear, as well as blackmailing also. The real life is not devoid of such examples. A 29 years old man in Thiruvananthapuram was convicted on sexual harassment of two minor girls, 7 years old and 5 years old, by resorting to exhibitionism in 2014. The convict, a daily wages worker, was booked under Section 11 and 12 of Protection of Children Against Sexual Offences Act 2012. Although the onset of exhibitionism is generally believed to be before 18 years of age, the age of onset is decreasing over time. Some causes of exhibitionism include low self-control, inability to delay gratification and impulsivity, a history of physical or sexual abuse in childhood, shyness, and poor social skills in dealing with the opposite sex have also been found as some possible reasons. The legal consequences of exhibitionism vary according to the laws of different countries. So, as elaborated above, there are many crimes ranging from juvenile delinquency to cyber crimes in which offenders come from a younger age group. But there is another form of age-related crime wherein children are more vulnerable to being the victims, and they are the sufferers of child sexual abuse. Newspapers on July 30, 2017 reported that a class 10 girl delivered a baby in a school toilet in Delhi. She was repeatedly raped by her 51-year-old neighbor. Shockingly, her teachers and parents did not even know that she was pregnant. You might have also read innumerable incidents about van drivers sexually abusing children as young as 3 years old. The WHO Consultation on Child Abuse Prevention 1999 defined child sexual abuse as the involvement of a child in sexual activity that he or she does not fully comprehend and is unable to give informed consent to, or for which the child is not developmentally prepared and cannot give consent, or that violates the laws or social taboos of society. This may include fondling or touching or kissing of genitals or other areas of the body, penetration with penis or any other object, exposing genitals or pornographic material to a child, talking to a child inappropriately, graphically, and explicitly about sex, asking a child to touch their own or others' genitals, or non-forced sex with an underage child. The physical indicators of child abuse include unexplained genital injury, vaginal or penile discharge, pain on urination. And the behavioral indicators include deterioration in school performance, irritability, clingy behavior, sleep and eating disturbances, poor self-esteem, and social problems. This is very well explained by Child Sexual Abuse Accommodation Syndrome by Summit 1993. It says how a child who is sexually abused feels helpless when he or she is forced to keep it a secret. There is fear that if he or she will disclose the abuse, it will not be believed and the distress of the child keeps increasing over time. Two special cases in child sexual abuse that deserve our attention include child trafficking, especially for sexual exploitation, and the other is pedophilia. Now we shall discuss each of them. Child trafficking. While smuggling refers to the situations in which migrants consent to movement, trafficking involves movement using threat, force, abduction, deception, or taking advantage of one's vulnerability for exploitation. The victims are usually women and children below the age of 18 years. Trafficked with different degrees of compulsion, they land up as house helps, cheap labor, and in prostitution and sexual exploitation. The fate of these trafficked children is quite saddening. They are naturally neglected emotionally and physically. They end up being malnourished, subject to violence and sexual abuse, at risk of HIV infection. They are tortured by threats, rapes, violence, and even drugs. Thus, as stated by Charity Network Inc. 2007, the child is broken, trapped, and isolated. Hence, serious efforts to prevent child trafficking should focus on deterring traffickers using stricter laws and educating parents about the risks that children who are sent away from home to earn money face. The other case is that of pedophilia. I am sure that quite a few of you will remember the Nithari case. CBI court in 2017 sentenced Moninder Singh Pandher and his accomplice Surinder Kohli a death punishment in one of the 16 cases of Nithari serial killings in 2005 and 2006. The bones and skulls of 16 persons, largely children, were discovered from the backyard of Pandher's house, which led to their arrest. Kohli confessed to killing 6 children and one 20-year-old female after sexually assaulting her. The abusers can be referred to as pedophiles. Intense persistent sexual interest in prepubescent children is referred to as pedophilia, a disorder primarily seen in males as per American Psychological Association 1994. Sexual arousal and gratification depends on fantasizing about and engaging in sexual behavior that is atypical and extreme. The victims are children below the age of 13 years. The offenders could be attracted to both sexes, but their ability to relate to adults of the opposite sex may vary. The sexual urges are associated with clinically significant distress in social, occupational, and personal functioning. The age gap between the victim and the perpetrator is generally around at least 5 years. They tend to use child pornography also extensively. Hormonal and neurotransmitter disturbances, observational learning of inappropriate sexual behavior, poor social and sexual needs gratification may be some possible causes of pedophilia. Now, having covered some of the major age-related crimes, we come to the common causes of such crime. The causes which are about these age-related crimes could depend on the stages of life cycle an individual is in. The first is the level of social integration. Social rejection, experience of bullying, need for acceptance by peer group tend to increase the chances of committing crime. The second cause identified is the lack of family and school social bonds. This increases juvenile delinquency, which results in a vicious cycle of being socially isolated. The third cause of age-related crimes is considered to be educational status. Better educational status is associated with greater chances of getting satisfactory work and living a sustainable quality of life than a person who has poor educational qualifications. Thinking about another factor in age-related crimes is failure to internalize a code of conduct. Lack of fear of the legal system or lack of perceived importance to adhere to society's norms results in increased crime rates, and this is what is called the code of conduct. The fifth is low self-control. Low self-control could be exhibited or manifested in impulsivity and difficulty in delaying gratification that can increase crime behavior. Another cause found to be is life events and coping. Certain traumatic life events like physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, financial loss, and other changes that have been difficult to accept and adapt to could be linked to increased vulnerability of engaging in criminal activities. And the last cause could be having criminal associates. Being in the company of peers who are law offenders, gamblers, drug abusers could elevate the risk of committing crime. Since now we have identified what could be the possible causes, it is possible to intervene and devise measures to reduce such age-related crimes. These could include, to begin with, stricter laws and timely punishments. Individual counseling and educating the parents, family members, or caregivers is equally important. Second, modifying social conditions, which could include better educational facilities, vocational training, social skills training, and generating self-employment opportunities. Third, encouraging physical exercise and engagement in recreational activities can also be used as a measure. Then, encouraging discussions about morality and values within the classroom setting from the school level itself is equally important. Hence, after reading about all this, we would like to conclude that age and crime bear a fluctuating relationship. Some crimes tend to occur at certain ages, while others are more specific to another age bracket. Generally, the period from early teens to young adulthood is associated with the highest rate of criminal activities. Significant life events tend to bring about a change in the life course and may or may not result in criminal activities in the future. Although the etiology for such offending behavior is multifactorial, we need to identify them and work upon them to bring about a positive change in the society. Thank you.